This is just about everything that I use in my cinema rig for gym content. I'm also going to be providing links to all of these products so that you can find these very easily. You might be wondering, why are we going for like a more handheld setup? Why aren't we using a gimbal such as this right here? While a gimbal is good, you don't want to use a gimbal for everything. Now, it's not appropriate for gym content for a number of reasons. Number one, it's just a little big and like cluttery. Gyms can be tight spaces and you don't want something that's going to be an obstruction to your shoot because you are going to be in rather tight places. And number two is that gym content kind of needs to be a little rough feeling, and gimbals are just like too smooth. You want the workout to feel intense, to feel electric, to feel very rough, and a handheld look is going to do just that for you. Now, we're going to build this rig out where it has some weight to it, so it's going to take out micro jitters, so you still have a stabilization option, on top of the fact that a lot of Sony mirrorless cameras have steady shot built in. We're just going to go ahead and start rigging things out, and I'm going to explain to you guys why I use each item that I use. And along the way, we're going to actually be rigging the camera out while we're doing this, so it's going to be really cool. So number one, we have the Sony a7 III right here. Awesome hybrid camera. If you are a solo shooter and you're looking for a photo video camera that does it all, this is the guy right here. Barely overheats, it can shoot 4K. The steady shot is not great, but it's not bad at all. It's totally usable. That is my body of choice. It's been my choice for a little bit over 2 years now. I've been using this. I would say 2 years and about 5 months. An important thing to have, especially for an a7 III that is a hybrid camera that doesn't really have built-in screws like the Sony cinema cameras such as the FX6 or the FX3, we're going to be putting on a SmallRig cage. You can pick this up for very, very cheap on Amazon. It's like 40, 60 bucks. So this cage is going to provide a lot more opportunity to rig this thing out. If you don't have the cage, all you have is the 1/4-20 screw on the bottom, and that's just not enough. You can just basically connect it to a tripod, but that's it. So this is where we're at now. We have the a7 III with the SmallRig cage on it. A ton of thread holes everywhere, so the rigging potential really is the sky's your limit. So now that we have a body, we're gonna go to a lens choice. This is my only lens in my setup, believe it or not. I use everything that I shoot is on this lens. It is the Sigma 24-70 f2.8 Art. This lens is a workhorse, and it provides close near, literally like, can't even tell the difference to a G Master lens, and it's half the price. This was I bought this for $1,100 on eBay used. I would look out for eBay. Some people do scam, but I made sure to do my diligence in looking at where the seller is and all the location things, and that it wasn't a scam. So I'm rocking the Sigma 24-70. It does have some weight to it, which is a good and bad thing. For this, it's a pretty good thing because we're going to be adding weight to the rig. It's going to make our shots a little more steady. The more weight you have, the less chance there is for micro jitters. But the caveat is, the heavier the rig, the more tired your arms are going to get quicker. So I'm going to go ahead and pop that bad boy in here. So here we have the body and the lens of choice. So we're going to talk briefly about filters. Now, a lot of gym content is going to be inside, so you don't really need an ND filter. This is the K&F Variable ND Nano X series. I think it's 1 to 5 stops. This is really awesome. It's inexpensive. So if the workout happens to be outside, I know there are outside gyms out there, use an ND filter so you can maintain a somewhat shallow depth of field while you're providing, everything in your image is preserved. That's the one filter that I would use. The second filter is this Pro Mist. Now, this is the 1/4 Pro Mist. They do provide, I think, an 1/8 Pro Mist, a 1/4 Pro Mist, and a 1/2 Pro Mist. What the fractions means is the greater the fraction, so the 1/2, for example, that's mainly used for very wide lenses, whereas the 1/8 is used for like tight shots. But basically, the more you go up, the more the effect of the Pro Mist effect is. But basically what a Pro Mist is, and I'll show some footage, is it just blooms out the highlights a little. It makes a glowy, vintage-esque feel, and some people might like that. I think it's a little too much for the 1/4. It's a little too much of an overkill, but I would pick up the 1/8 if I didn't have one of these already. But you don't need either of these. You can totally just shoot on the bare bones front element in the gym, and you're still going to get some highlights, some glary highlights from the lights. This just kind of amplifies it, and it might be too much in some cases. You could also ask the client if they like it, because it is a taste, so to speak. So a lot of people think you need like a matte box. I'm a fan of matte boxes. I do use them in certain cases, but for something like this in the gym where you're really keeping in mind the form factor, you're not going to want to rock a matte box. I'm going to show you exactly why. This is the matte box I use. It's a Tilted Mirage, and I just want to show you guys, you know, how kind of big this thing is and cluttery. So if I were to have this on the lens, guys, look at this. It adds too much is going on here with the hood and everything. It's just too cluttery. I've used this on gym shoots. It just doesn't work. I would just avoid this in general, just because it just gets too cluttery with it. So we're not going to be using that. But for most things, I just rock no filter. So first we're going to provide the basis here. So we're going to be using a V-mount battery plate because personally I just think V-mounts are the way to go with this stuff. I don't want to worry about charging and stuff like that. I just want to be focused on the shot. So for a solo op, it's a godsend. So we have this little SmallRig quick release plate that you literally just screw onto the side here. We're going to be using the memory card side because we're going to be running cords to the other side and it's just going to get too cluttered over there. Again, the theme here is to just make everything very streamlined. We want to avoid as much clutter as possible. This multi-tool from SmallRig, I use this all of the time. It has saved my ass. So totally recommend this little thing. It's super small. So now that we have the plate down on the side, because this is a vertical setup, SmallRig has this V-mount plate that you run through the quick release system. Very easy to use. So you literally just slide it in as if you were sliding onto a gimbal plate. You lock it in place in the center. And here's the basis now on the back, okay? And then you can extend it in and out. I like to keep it kind of out because you want to still have access to the screen here. So we're going to have it out like this. We're going to lock it in place. Then for the V-mount, we have the SmallRig VB99. This is, again, only the 99 watt one, but it's powered my rig for the whole time, and it's usually like a 2-hour shoot. So this thing does the job. I'm not complaining. So that's what I use. And then you just literally click it into place like that. And there you go. We already have some pretty good weight to the rig. This is good. And also this plate is really nice, or sorry, this V-mount battery is really nice. It's flat. So I could push it up against my chest here. And now I have another, like, it's kind of like almost like a stock in like Call of Duty. You know, when you're aiming, you put the stock upgrade, you get a little bit better aim because you have the piece here on your shoulder. It's kind of the same idea. You have another point of contact. It's the 3 points of contact rule. It is a better way to do things because if you hold your breath, you can really get stabilized even when you're walking. So it's really good, and it's better than a gimbal because gimbals are going to provide almost like a too buttery smooth, not what you're looking for type of image. When we're shooting video, now you're like, well, the screen's covered. How are we going to look at what we're recording to? We're going to be using this. This is the Atomos Ninja 5 monitor. It has literally changed how I shoot and how I light my scenes, and I'm not even joking. This thing is amazing because of two things. Number one, the tech that's inside here with false color, built-in LUTs, all those things is amazing. And number two, you can run an SSD to the back of this thing and record a ProRes video codec. The A7 III does not record in ProRes. So I record everything straight to the Atomos monitor. All the Atomos is doing is seeing what the A7 III is recording. This thing, again, because I can load LUTs onto it, which is an A7 III cannot load LUTs, I can see exactly how to expose the image for the LUT, and it's awesome. I would recommend this even outside of gym stuff. This is a really good investment. Bought this used for like 400 bucks. How are we gonna attach this? Well, we use this Condor Blue Cine arm. This thing also a godsend. I'm gonna show you why. So it has a 3/8 on the back. So we're gonna just literally run this right here. The SmallRig cage has a 3/8 thread right here. We're gonna just screw it on, and then what we do is we take the multi-tool, use the small one just to tighten it down, just again to make it fully secure. Now that that is secure, we're going to use the Ninja here. It has a 3/8 on the Ninja as well. Just give it another Just half turn. And what I love about this arm here is that you can configure the monitor with these ball joints however you'd like. It's amazing if you're shooting horizontal and vertical and you have to like hop between both. But for this, we're gonna just leave it like that. So right like there. And let's say I wanna do a mid-angle shot like this so I can see it. But if I wanna do a high angle shot, I'm gonna just unscrew it with literally just a half turn. And then I'm gonna pivot it like this. So now I can be looking up at it. If the camera's up here, I could see the screen. Same goes for a low angle shot. I can rotate it like completely parallel to the ground and I can see everything. So it's just any sort of angle, this thing's got your back. This is what I love so much about it. So we're already getting pretty big here, as you can see. And I don't know, this might be just optional, but I have this this SmallRig extended plate for my RS3 Pro, but I also use it on the bottom here because the V-mount plate, SmallRig V-mount plate has thread holes on the bottom that I can screw this into. So like, let's say I want to set this down. If I want to just like put the rig down for a second, this plate, it makes the surface area bigger on the bottom, so you're not going to like, God forbid, you know, tilt the rig over and it falls or something, but it's got more feet to it, see? It's got more of a surface area. It just makes things a little easier and more secure when you want to put it down somewhere. How are we going to power the Ninja? This D-tap cord, we're going to run straight into the Ninja. Atomos has their own brand of this, and we're just going to do a little cord management, just a little twist right there. And then there is a port right here. We're just going to plug that in. Boom. Now we have power to the Ninja. So if your camera has USB-C charging, we're going to run a USB-C cord to the V-mount so that your A7 III is also being charged. So this is the USB-C cord. I did a little like wrap here. But yeah, so now the camera's being charged, the Ninja's being charged. We're all good on the power end of things. This is the HDMI cord for the Ninja. We're just going to run this to the input and then into the A7 III. And what I have here, I think it's optional, but I have like an HDMI clamp. So basically what it does is you just tighten it and it clamps down on the HDMI cord so it doesn't slip out accidentally. You know, when you're in the gym, you're moving fast. So that clamp just provides a little more security, but not needed. I didn't use one for the longest time, but now I just have it. And this is the SSD that I use. It is the Sony Atom X 500 gigabyte. It is a little pricey, but it's worth it. This thing is this thing is awesome. The Ninja never has any hiccups when recording. So you just slide that on the back of the Ninja like such. We're gonna add some handles because handles are very important. So these are the two handles of choice that I have. This one's like more of a top handle, but I've just kind of used it as a side handle now. And I'll show you why. This one is also pretty cool, SmallRig. I didn't want two of them like this. I don't know, I just felt it was a little weird. And also the Sigma is very front heavy, but this will mitigate that front heaviness. I'll show you in just a second. So it's just two screws on this top handle piece, and we're gonna run that top handle piece on this side of the camera. I like to go in the middle screw level. And then we're just gonna tighten these two screws down. And this top handle kind of brings the grip to up here by the lens barrel, and the Sigma does extend, so you know the front heaviness needs to be mitigated in some respect, and that's what this kind of does. So now we're going to throw this handle, and because I'm doing a lot of low angle shots, I kind of shifted the center of this piece down so that this comes up more. And what's cool about this is it has a hidden Allen key right in the bottom of it, magnetic. It stays in magnetically. So like now you have two handles here and it's really cool. You got the third contact point on the chest and you can really put some reps in with this. No pun intended. Other than that, we just have the audio solution. This is the Rode Video Mic Pro. 10 out of 10 recommend. It is the best microphone for $300. Shotgun mic, can't go wrong. And although you're going to be using a lot of sound effects in the final edit, this just provides almost like a safety audio if you need it. So really, really helpful. You still have access by your hand. You gotta be a little careful here so your hand's not hitting it. What's important is if it has a flip out screen, which like all Sony cameras now do, just extend it outwards a little bit, just so it's best to have the screen out just a little bit to mitigate any heat that accumulates, because when you shoot 4K, especially on the A7 III, it tends to overheat a little. So you could even leave the battery door open to also let heat out. Just helps. If you have a camera that has an internal fan, this won't be an issue, but everything's kind of centralized. You know, the weight is in the center, so it's a really well-balanced rig. You also grip it down here with these. You use this and this. You can change it up to this and this. You know, you can use both. Press against the chest. So now we're going to talk a little bit about settings, what settings to shoot on, because that's a whole nother ballgame. We just got the rig done, so now we're going to talk a little bit about what settings to use.